Streets of Tarkov lower texture resolution mode. What is it, and why is it important for us to understand when it comes to VRAM spillover and current RAM issues in Tarkov? So here's what Streets of Tarkov lower texture resolution mode does to Tarkov. Are you ready? Thanks for watching. Seriously though, that's what it does. For Tarkov, it'll force the low texture quality onto streets and only streets. So if you are not struggling with VRAM buffers on any other map besides streets, and you want to make sure that you stay under your VRAM buffer for it, that's the setting you want to use. I do have some data to back this up and hopefully explain some of the issues the community has been seeing regarding this issue, so let me pull that up real quick. I want to first discuss the VRAM issues within Tarkov. So if you didn't understand how this works, pretty much if you are hitting close to your VRAM limit, it'll start bouncing all of that memory to your system memory or your RAM, your regular RAM, instead of your VRAM, as it's starting to fill up too much and it needs to make sure it offloads some memory in case shit hits the fan. Tarkov does the same as any other game does. However, even with medium textures when you load into streets, especially with me on an 8GB card, you get very, very close to your maximum VRAM limit. This number right here is the average of 3 runs that I did, and these numbers stayed extremely consistent for the VRAM from run to run. As you can see, it was 7.5 gigabytes on medium when I was offline on streets, and then medium with low texture mode was at 6.1, and so was low at 6.1. Hence, making me believe that they're simply just forcing that setting on for streets only. Moving to medium online, you can clearly see that I'm hitting my maximum VRAM limit of 8 gigabytes. We're right there. And so as you'll see in the chart next, that memory has to go somewhere. They need to store that data somewhere, and you'll see where that's stored. As far as medium with low texture mode and low, they were at roughly the exact same. This is run-to-run variance between the two, so it's clearly just forcing those low textures. So let's switch to the system RAM. Make sure to remember these VRAM numbers for later. You can see that even with medium textures on offline mode, we are still getting more RAM usage than with medium LTM or low. What this shows me is that even though, and I knew this already, but even though we're not at the 8 gigabyte limit, it will still be dumping some of that extra data off of our VRAM and onto system memory. This is extremely apparent when we go to the online raids that are on the right here. We're at 14 gigabytes at the start of the raid, which is how we say in technical terms, no bueno. This will shoot up a lot faster than how it typically does with the gradual increase of RAM usage in Tarkov because of the VRAM spillover that we're seeing in medium online for our VRAM usage. You can see that for our RAM usage, we stay consistently and several gigabytes lower when we have the lower texture quality, as that is not spilling over from our VRAM to our system RAM, to our memory. Now, why is this important to control, and why is BSG trying to make moves to control this? Well, the answer is pretty simple. See, as I've expressed before, once your VRAM fills up, some of that memory is then swapped to your RAM, but obviously your RAM is used for other things as well, and not just for VRAM spillover. So what happens when this fills up, say you have 16 gigabytes and you're at medium textures like I am with that 8 gigabyte VRAM buffer, is once this hits 16 gigabytes, that has to go somewhere else too. They can't just stop storing data within the RAM. So some of the older memory has to get thrown over to the page file on your Windows install. And this is stored on your drive, which is even slower storage than RAM or VRAM, which is bad. You don't want to rely on the page file storage often within a game, because that is going to cause stutters when you actually have to retrieve that data. BSG also wants to avoid this, as this seems to be causing some of the crashes that have been reported in my community. There have been now several posts where people have sent in support tickets to BSG's team, and they have replied saying that it would be a good idea to increase your page file to over 20 gigabytes. The reason they're saying this is because they are having this exact issue where RAM, for people who have lower amounts of RAM, is starting to spill over into page file. And if you run out of page file storage as well, that's extremely not good. That is not what you want. And there has been errors regarding that page file overflow within the community that I have over on my Discord. So This is clear to see that this is them trying to suppress that issue specifically for streets. So what does this mean for you? Who should turn this setting on, and will you actually see any performance gain from it? The long and the short of it is, if you are like me and you are getting to your maximum VRAM limit in streets fairly quickly, this setting will help you. You'll have less time where the VRAM is dumping over to your system memory, which will improve your overall frame times, especially in the 0.1 and 1% low. Of course, it doesn't fix all the hitches and stuttering within the game, but it's a start. Secondarily, if you have an 8GB or lower card, or even 10GB or lower card, and you're going onto the streets, it might be a good idea to still set this on even if you have 32GB or more, just so that you still don't have it spilling over to your RAM. Keeping that contained is a good idea. However, if you're already running low textures, this is not going to do anything for you at all. If you need to run low textures on every single map, turning this setting on will not help you in the slightest, and you shouldn't see any improvement whatsoever. Any improvement that you do see within an online raid could be the result of other factors and not necessarily be directly correlated to this. So just keep that in mind when you're trying to test it for yourself. If you're one of the Giga Chads in my Discord who has a 4090 and a 7950X 3D, or aka the best setups with high VRAM buffer limits and plenty of RAM to spare, this is also completely worthless to you as well. So that's great, but it's a start. Hopefully they'll address MIP streaming soon in the future too, so we don't have to worry about the black screens crashing our games at the end of raid. But yeah, that's it. I know it's not amazing, but I figured I'd cover this setting anyway with the poll that I put on my community page. Just want to let you guys know what this did, and yeah, it's not anything crazy. I hope this helped the streamers out there who are getting constant questions in their chat about this setting, so that those people can shut up. But anyway, I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe, and of course join our Discord. I'll be streaming tomorrow, or whenever this is posted. It's gonna be Friday night at the usual time, Friday night 7 p.m. CST or sooner. And yeah, for now, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next week. This is Clem, clocking out. Later.